Zachary Show here, and welcome back to my WWE 2K24 showcase of the Immortals playthrough. In the last episode, we were at WrestleMania 30, where Brock Lesnar conquered The Undertaker's undefeated WrestleMania streak. And now we are moving ahead 1 year to WrestleMania 31. Security won't protect you. Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. Attacked and put out of action by Seth Rollins and the Authority. Randy Orton is out for revenge. An unhinged Viper is never a good thing, and Seth Rollins, we find out that he's ready to strike from any angle. About to get into this, and once the match is started, I will talk about what Seth Rollins has been up to and some of the other things that happened at WrestleMania 31, but not the main event, because that seems to be the next one.
Quite possibly the most jaw-dropping result in WrestleMania history. The Undertaker streak ends at the hands of Brock Lesnar. The looks on the faces of those in attendance told us everything. Nobody saw this coming. Our next match takes us to the greater Bay Area of Northern California and WrestleMania 31 in 2015. Seth Rollins had been on top of the world ever since he decided to leave the Shield behind to do the bidding of the Authority. This move paid off instantly, as he'd capture the Money in the Bank briefcase in July of 2014. Rollins was untouchable, protected by those in power, and with the knowledge that at any moment, he could turn that briefcase into the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. All seemed to be well within the ranks of the Authority, but the harmony would not last long. Randy Orton, who had been the Authority's top hand until Rollins joined the ranks, didn't seem so happy with the favoritism his former rival was now enjoying. This would come to a head with Rollins attacking Orton following a tag team match, connecting with his vaunted stomp to make it clear that their association was now over. The Viper was furious, attempting to get revenge, but never quite finding it. Another stomp from Rollins would force Orton out of action for a few months, with Rollins bragging about his actions the entire time. But at Fastlane in February of 2015, Orton would make his return following a six-man tag featuring Rollins, delivering RKOs to everyone who got in his way. But as luck would have it, Rollins would manage to escape unharmed. Orton made it clear he wanted one thing, and one thing only: Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Orton wanted to show the Authority they made a huge error in backing Rollins instead of Orton, and he was going to make an example of their new golden boy. The pressure's on. Can you humble Seth Rollins in front of an enormous WrestleMania audience? Or will this legend be the one you can't kill? The Stomp meets the RKO. Next.
Okay, and we're about to get this underway. I will say, for one, I just love the look of this WrestleMania. The outdoor sunlight, it's wonderful. At least it started, and this was the match that kicked off the show. Not counting the pre-show, of course. Let's talk about what everyone's been up to. So, the previous, we'll go back 2 years actually. Rollins' first WrestleMania was WrestleMania 29, where he, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose as the Shield faced, I believe, it was Randy Orton, Big Show, and Sheamus, which they won. And then Rollins competed alongside the Shield at WrestleMania 30, where they defeated the New Age Outlaws and Kane in very short order. Now, we're not going to talk about Roman Reigns and what he's been up to, but a few months after WrestleMania 30, Seth turned his back on the Shield, hitting Roman Reigns with a chair, and that embroiled Seth in a feud with Dean Ambrose. We will talk about Dean Ambrose because he's not in this game. Dean Ambrose would go on at WrestleMania 31 to actually, what was he doing? So he actually was in a ladder match, I believe, for the Intercontinental Championship. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was the case. The funny thing is, the second time I'm recording this, because I lost, and in the first recording I said that he faced Brock Lesnar. He does face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, but that would be at WrestleMania 32. That's what everyone's doing. Roman Reigns, like I said, we will get to him later because I believe that's the next episode. I'm not going to talk too much about that. Orton, and let's see if I can remember a lot of what Orton's been up to. So, I don't think we have any Orton stuff this entire showcase. Because if not, his first WrestleMania was WrestleMania 20, where he, Batista, and Ric Flair faced The Rock and Mick Foley. 21, he faced The Undertaker. 22, he lost to Rey Mysterio in a triple threat match where Rey won the title. Oh, and here's where it's going to go downhill. I don't remember 23, 24, 25, 26. I believe at 27 he faced CM Punk. And then I got to 28. Actually, no, I didn't get to 28. I don't remember what he did at 28. The 29 was the one with the Shield. And 30 was WrestleMania, was the one where he lost the triple threat match to Daniel Bryan that also featured Batista. Also, I know a lot, I just don't remember everything. Like, I mentioned, I think, in an earlier episode that a lot of the 20s WrestleManias, I just don't remember some. Some I've never even seen in full. That was back when you actually had to buy pay-per-views, and I don't think I was even old enough to work for a lot of those. Similar to the last episode, I haven't been paying attention to the objective yet, but that's okay because I attempted this before, and me doing a bunch of moves and damage to Rollins is going to matter anyways. So we'll get to that. I'll explain what I did in the recording you're never going to see when we get to that point. Whoa. That was a very cool animation there.
Orton and Rollins struggled early to take command of the match, mirroring the struggle for power the two had while both associated with the Authority. Orton was all business. He knew that Rollins was dangerous, and he wasn't going to make any mistakes just trying to show off. Rollins, on the other hand, wanted to make his mark on the event, and he knew that a victory over Orton would send a message to the entire WWE roster. This need to make a statement almost cost Rollins.
That backflip was so cool.
With an attempt at the RKO. Was Rollins' arrogance going to cost him? Did he respect Orton's ability at all? It was Orton, though, who'd make the next mistake. Chasing Rollins around the ringside area and back in, where Rollins set him up for a devastating hot shot on the ropes. Just like that, Rollins had neutralized Orton's offense and looked ready to pour it on further. What adjustments would Orton have to make now that his RKO had failed him? And would he be able to make them in the moment against Rollins?
I genuinely wish I remembered more of what Orton was doing at the WrestleManias in the mid-20s. In 23, he might have been in the Money in the Bank ladder match, now I think about it. I may be wrong. Oh no, that Money in the Bank ladder match was stacked at 23. I've watched that so many times. That one was won by Mr. Kennedy, if you remember who that is. We're gonna hit the DDT, because having a lot of finishers is going to be important later, and I'll explain why. Can you get up so I can do more moves, please? Or okay, no need to just bask in what you just did. Okay. This is where the announcers would talk about the methodical way that Orton dissects his opponent, which is true. But when you play a video game, it's slow. I need movement. Right now, he's getting distracted by that is supposed to be Joey Mercury. Now, what I'll mention is they are censored in this game. They're blurred out, which is interesting to me because Jamie Noble still works there, I believe. I think he's still a backstage agent. So they must have blurred him because they didn't want to pay him. They did make the likenesses look a lot like them, so it's just weird that they blurred them out in the cutscenes because they look like them. Like, I don't know if you could see them. You probably can kind of tell. But the characters, they're... What was that? It would be a 2K WWE game without some glitches. And a standing shooting star by Seth. And he's gonna undo the turnbuckle pad. I am trying to go for the objective, by the way. I don't need to think of not. Clothesline, turn him inside out.
For another RKO, knowing that the quick strike would be the end of Rollins whenever it hit.
That's Joey Mercury with the blurry head.
Two goons in Rollins' security would try and distract Orton, or even outright interfere. With the backing of the Authority, officials were hesitant to disqualify Rollins, or even have his security removed. With Rollins temporarily halted, Orton would look to remove Rollins' security from the equation himself. Was Orton making a mistake by leaving Rollins to recover? While we all pondered these questions, Seth Rollins provided the answer by wiping Orton out with a breathtaking suicide dive. Orton had squandered his advantage in the match for now.
Now J&J security is neutralized for now. I don't know if it's for good or not. I don't know if they're going to stay down the entire time. I already did enough damage to his head or torso, so I just have to actually clothesline him outside the ring. I will do this taunt just to hit him. Or not the clothesline, whatever that move. Referee's fixing the turnbuckle. I'm gonna use that one too. I was gonna go for a superplex as the objective warrants. Guess we'll try it in this one. Now I gotta hit him with the dive. I don't know if it will count if I hit him while he's on the ropes. I have to wait for him to get away. So I'm just gonna keep mashing while Orton does this shrug. Because the moment he gets off the ropes, I'll hit him. RKO time. And he counters. I'm gonna hit him with the DDT to stock up another finisher. You'll see why I'm doing this in a second. Well, not in a second, really soon. All right, now we're gonna hit him with the RKO. If you can stop admiring your work, Orton, please. Boom. And now I have to set up the punt kick, and this is where I went wrong when I was filming before. So, first time I went for the punt, he countered, which was a blessing in disguise, because it only took away one of my finisher slots. And that's a blessing because I went for it in the wrong corner. Then I went for the punt again from the wrong corner because I wasn't reading properly. I landed it, lost all three finishers, and it didn't count for the objective. And then Seth hit me with his second curve stomp of the match, and I lost. So now I know to go for the punt from the northwest corner. That would be the one that we are closest to right now. I deleted the recording because I didn't want to have to do the extra editing and speeding stuff up and all that. So I just decided to delete it and record again. And oh, he's going for the buckle bomb here. I don't want to use resiliency there. I really didn't want to use it. I'm worried he's going to hit the stomp, so I'm going to take this outside the ring. Because I will lose if... how did he not hit me? That's actually surprising. I wasn't that far away. And yes, unfortunately, countering a super finisher only takes away one slot, so you can get it back quickly. But if you land it and do it wrong, you lose all of the slots. Okay, good. He's getting me in. I don't want him to necessarily get me back in the ring because I don't want to eat another curb stomp. I don't like to fight cowardly, but I will because I don't want to lose. Can you come out? They are still down, by the way. They being J&J Security. And the reason I get back in and get back out, by the way, is to break the count out. I'm sure I mentioned that in a previous episode. While I'm putting this beating on Rollins, please make sure to like this video and leave a comment if you have anything to say. And most importantly, please subscribe to my channel. It's free and it helps me a ton. You can also click the bell if you want to be notified for uploads, but I understand if you don't, I turn those off for a lot of channels. Now he's going to hit the dive, as I was taunting. Should have picked a better spot to taunt. I just want him to, I'd rather him hit the stomp on me or something out here so that I don't have to worry about losing immediately to it. What is my outside signature? It might be the Garvin Stomp thing. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna check because I'm really curious. Oh, it is, but it's upper body. Okay. I don't want to hurt him. These poor guys have been down the entire time. He still got the pad off. Now I'll do the stomp. Well, this stomp. Garvin stomp. Now he's stunned. This is a good chance to go for the punt. From a northwest corner, I'm reminding myself because I will screw it up.
Orton had finally put Seth in a bad spot and backed into the corner, looking to deliver his infamous punt kick. But like they had already multiple times,
oh, they're back.
Security ran back into the ring.
Down goes Jamie Noble.
RKOs for their trouble.
Down goes Joey Mercury.
Once again, Rollins took advantage of the distraction, ceasing all of Orton's pressure with a stomp. The same stomp that had taken Orton out of action for months.
I might lose here if he goes for a pin. Oh, he's not gonna. Oh. Now I have to beat him up more and hit the Garvin stomp, which is the one you saw me just do outside the ring before I put it back in. He's got 2 finishers and a signature. Well, he doesn't have a signature anymore. Thank you, Seth. Thank you, Seth, for putting me back in the ring. This is one time where I'm grateful for this. Oh, no. You know what this means, right? Not gonna stop and re-record. You're just gonna see a very quick edit up until the point I was at. We're now back. Finally got to that point. It actually was way quicker that time. Like, even though I sped it up, it was a lot faster. We gotta hit the Garvin stomp, beat him up, and luckily I have my resiliency still, so if and when he hits the stomp, I have a guaranteed kick out. But I haven't taken any damage really besides that, besides the like damage it makes you take from the cutscenes. But he might set me up here. I want to hit the Garvin stomp. I gotta get up though. He's getting up before me somehow. Success. One more RKO.
Rollins would evade another attempt at the RKO as he had done throughout the match. But then, in a moment that will play in highlight reels forever, Randy Orton unleashes possibly his greatest RKO ever to stop Seth Rollins in his tracks. The Viper never looked better, expertly setting up his prey to make one wrong move so he could strike from, that's right, out of nowhere. Randy Orton's perseverance allowed him to overcome stifling 3-against-1 odds. And despite being unable to land the RKO on multiple occasions, when the moment presented itself, he fully took advantage. Orton, now able to truly show the authority that they had backed the wrong guy all along. Doubly satisfying. And Rollins' master plan had crumbled. He'd now live forever in WrestleMania highlight reels for all the wrong reasons. Surely there was nothing that could salvage this night for Seth. This was Randy Orton's night, and the only thing people would remember from this event would be that RKO. Nothing was going to change what Orton had done to Seth Rollins.
Oh, you say nothing. Okay. Well, so it's interesting, right? Is that match had me do the RKO once, like, officially as an objective. So did he not actually land it at all in the match until that point? Because they shouldn't have made you do it then. Anyway, that is what, apparently, what Seth is going to be remembered for, is that moment. Nothing else. We'll see about that. If you know your history, you know where I'm going. after Orton's done posing. So we unlocked WrestleMania 31, that Orton and that Rollins. And before we end this episode, let's see what's next. Just a reminder, if you missed any of the previous ones and want to see them, there'll be a box at the end of the video over here. You can go check them all out. But what's coming next is Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns from WrestleMania 31 and Seth Rollins. But that picture says it all, and we're going to see it unfold in the next episode. I've been Zachary Show. I'll see you next time.